Hello and welcome. It's Dan here, host and producer of the Foos Files podcast. We're finally out there, episode 1. It's been a good few months in the making, so I just wanted to start by saying a big thanks to everyone who's been following the progress so far on the social media channels, and to those of you who've shared your stories with me. Plenty of those to come over the next few weeks and months. If you've just stumbled upon us for the first time, Foos Files is going to take a deep dive into the influence and popularity of the Foo Fighters from a number of different angles. So we're going to have some in-depth interviews, we'll do some reviews, some track-by-track rundowns, and I know the band have been on a bit of a hiatus recently, but hopefully we'll get some news in the not-too-distant future that we can react to as well. And then there's lots of great stories too from you, the fans, the Foo community, putting you right at the heart of things. And I'm going to be doing my very best to get a weekly episode out, certainly in the first few months, and see how that goes. Now, before we get into the good stuff, I just wanted to give you a quick introduction. My name's Dan, host and producer of Foos Files. I'm a media professional based in Birmingham in the United Kingdom, and I've been a fan of the band for more than 20 years now. I can still remember when I first heard the Foo Fighters. I was staying with family during the summer holidays, and my cousins and I would be playing a lot of music, watching a lot of music videos, and one of them showed me the video to Breakout, and instantly I thought both the video and the song were just amazing. From there I watched the film Me, Myself and Irene, which was great because when I was younger I loved anything with Jim Carrey in. And of course there was Breakout again. So I picked up There's Nothing Left to Lose, the album, on CD, and it all started from there really. I've seen the band live 6 times. The first was in 2003 at an old festival here in the UK called the V Festival in Staffordshire, which is just down the road from where I grew up. And the last one was in July 2024 when my wife and I were fortunate enough to be able to travel to Boston to see the guys in action at Fenway Park. And we just had the best time before, during and after the show. We met some awesome people who, some of them who, like us, had travelled a long way to be there. And it just helped make the day extra special. So I guess part of the inspiration for this podcast comes from that trip. But primarily for me, where it all started was on that fateful day in March 2022 when we lost Taylor Hawkins. Now, I'm sure everyone listening to this will relate to what I'm about to say, but I'd never felt that way about a death before of someone in the public eye. Someone who I'd admired but never actually met. It just hit differently. And prior to this also, I was never particularly one for fan groups, for engaging in online communities. But on that day, I decided to join a couple of the Foos Facebook groups because I guess I wanted to be around people who were feeling the same as I was. And what that did was it opened my eyes really to just how devoted the fans of this band are and how the connection between the band and its fans runs much deeper than with any other band or artist that I've followed, both in times of joy and in sadness too. And there's just so much depth to the story of this band that goes far beyond the music itself. So this podcast is dedicated really to the memory of Taylor, and also to anybody who has held this band dear to them at certain points in their life, whether it be through love or loss or happy times or times of great difficulty. So here's episode 1, a short introduction to the world of Foo Fandom, and we're going to meet a few of the incredible people that you'll be hearing from throughout the series. And as I said right at the start, this is very much for the fans, so if you have a cool story or an idea for an episode, do get in touch, foosfilespod@gmail.com. It'd be really great to hear from you. So thanks for listening. Enjoy episode 1 of Foos Files. The Foo Fighters are one of the world's biggest rock bands. What sets them apart from so many of their peers is the extraordinary connection with their fan base across the world.
I think what makes this band unique compared to other acts is how the band interacts with fans, and that influences how the fans treat each other.
That was Kiri Leapins, head writer and Instagram curator for the independent fan website Foo Fighters Live, which provides a wealth of information such as set lists, photos, and more than 1,500 live recordings.
It's honestly a pleasure being part of this fandom, and I've often said that it's an honour to be able to do this, to be part of FFL, because it's like sending little love letters out every day. So, as soppy as that sounds, that's how it feels.
Foo Fighters Live is a real treasure trove of information on the band, and it's all the more extraordinary because it's operated by 3 Foo Fighters fans from different continents, with Kiri from Australia working alongside editor Kurt Bishop from the US and UK-based founder Simon Kilmore. It's the spirit of the Foo community at its very best, and we'll hear more about how they do it in a forthcoming episode. So what does it mean to be a member of the global Foo community? We explore that question with someone who wrote the book on it. Well, 2 actually. Rachel Gilliver is an author and publisher from the Midlands region of the UK. She set up Roswell Publishing to release her books Send in the Congregation 1 and 2, both containing dozens of stories from Foo Fighters fans. But how did Rachel, a self-confessed metalhead, go from this?
I had no clue who this band were. The reference I knew to Foo Fighters was the World War II reference.
To this.
I said, one day I'm going to write a book about you guys.
In 2014, Rachel penned a series of articles about challenges facing the ticket industry. Little did she know her work would propel her into the world of Foo.
I remember trying to get tickets for some event in the summer of 2014. Couldn't get them. So I wrote several blog posts about it, kind of giving some advice to the industry, advice that I now know isn't needed, and the issues that we see with ticketing are by design. And at the same time, Foo Fighters fans were doing a campaign about ticket scalping. I think it was around the time that they were doing the Small Sonic Highway shows, and people were trying to get tickets, failing to get them, and they decided to do a campaign on it. So they found my articles on Twitter, and it was the closest I think I've ever been to being doxxed, because suddenly there were people in my inbox. There were people I'd never heard of, were tagging me in things, were tracking down my personal social media profiles. And eventually, I think it was about October 2014, I started being added into groups on Facebook for a band called the Foo Fighters. And I had no idea why I was there or why they wanted to speak to me. But they came up and went, okay, you've written these articles on ticket scalping, it's really great. Would you give us a hand with our campaign? And I was like, yeah, of course I can. So I ended up writing some stuff for them, helping them get it out there. And they said, do you like the band? Are you into the music? And I was like, I've got no clue who you're on about. And they're like, seriously? They're like the biggest rock band in the world. And I'm like, it was like straight over my head. And so they said, oh, what kind of music are you into? So I said, I'm a metal girl at heart. You know, I love my heavy metal. So the first album they gave me to listen to was Wasting Light. And it went from there. These fans were so sweet to me. They took me in, a complete novice. I had no clue who this band were. They sent me gifts. They included me in so much stuff. They included me on nights out. They helped me get tickets to go see them at Wembley in 2015, which obviously never happened in the end. And I remember saying kind of December 2014, January 2015, I said, one day I'm going to write a book about you guys. I think it was watching a lot of their stories via social media. These people who have been through so much in their lives. There were so many health problems, mental health problems, people who'd been in and out of hospital, who'd had failed relationships. And every time they spoke about it, it was the music that was helping them. It was this band, it was the lyrics, it was the music, it was the community, it was the energy that kept them going. And I just went, this needs to be out there. People need to have an outlet.
All right. I got a real question. Hold on, I got a real question. Are there people there here tonight that know the fucking words to the Foo Fighters songs? Are there people here? Do you know the words to the Foo Fighters songs? Who knows all the words to the Foo Fighters songs? I'm not kidding, man. All right. Well, you're gonna have to sing one with me.
Indeed, it's the music that has not only kept people going, but continually keeps them coming back for more. As Dave Grohl himself often says at the end of Foo Fighters shows, if you come back, we'll come back.
If we come back, will you come back? If we come back, you should come back again. All right. We'll do it again sometime.
And both the band and the fans do always come back. As Lee Larson from Portland in the US and Macarena Chocan from Argentina agree, once you've been to a Foo Fighters show, you've caught the bug.
It's odd, I find people who would sit there and be like, oh my God, you've seen them so many times. Isn't once enough? Like, not really. Not when they come out with a new album. And honestly, not when you've seen them and you just have that much fun going to those shows. Like, why would I say no to that again? The bug was caught. Like, the dragon's there to chase. I'm chasing the dragon of their shows.
I think mainly is the energy boost that I get from the music every time I listen to them. Their songs are just a lot of energetic, uplifting, a little bit of sentimental. If you think about, I don't know, Fairy Stars or Everlong or Aurora or Home. Also, I think to this point is the memories I created around them, and also the fan community that surrounds them, the friends I've made because of them. I think that's what keeps me bonded to their music, and that makes me come back to their concerts once and again. It's like being there and singing along to their songs and being with people that enjoy them as much is really meaningful to me.
That sense of community, kindness and friendship that permeates through the band and its global fan base is loud and clear. It's certainly palpable among those who spend long hours on show day queuing up outside the venue to secure that sacred spot on the front rail.
The Foo community are lovely. We've met so many lovely people through it. And that's half the fun, is doing GA and rail, is, the days queuing and getting to know new people and all their experiences.
That's Kim Hearn, a Foos fan living in Brighton, England, who along with husband Steve has managed to catch the band on multiple occasions in Australia, the UK and the United States.
And people say, well, how can you queue all day? I think, well, it goes so quickly. And 1 minute it's 7:30 in the morning and the next minute the guys are running on stage. It's incredible how the time goes because you're just talking to people all the time. We forge really deep bonds, and we might not see each other from year to year, but I don't know, it was just something very special.
The Foo Fighters are a band that inspire in life, in music, and in the case of entrepreneur Matt Dietz, in business too. Matt, who runs his own insurance agency in Idaho, credits Dave Grohl as a major source of inspiration in how he's built his business.
It probably wasn't until I watched the documentary Back and Forth where I really started to understand the depth of his creativity. And actually, he did a long-form podcast with Sam Jones where he tells just stories and how he did what he did. Dave just did everything by himself. He talks about how when he was creating music when he was younger in the punk scene, they would make records by themselves and they would do their own fanzines and they would They did everything by hand and organically. Nobody ever taught them how to do it. And so he always had this in his DNA to just, if he wanted to do something, he would figure out a way to make it happen. And that's something that can be really important when you're trying to run your business, because when you're starting to run a business, even when you're in the middle of it, you're still making stuff up on the fly. You're trying new things, you're tinkering with your business, you're doing things differently. He just does things the way he wants, and he won't take no, and he figures it out. And that is something that is really powerful for somebody who's trying to muster their way through building their business by themselves. So I was like, oh, he really inspired me. The other thing, he was the 5th drummer of Nirvana. And, for me, I have employees in my office, and I had a hard time finding people that were going to be good working for me. So I'm just going through, I try this person, I had to fire him. I try that person, I have to fire him. And, it took me a long time to find my right team. But knowing that Dave was the 5th drummer in Nirvana kind of gave me a little bit of peace. I'm like, this takes time to get it right. And so all these little things that he has done throughout his career, not just making music, he's made documentaries. He has confidence and he goes forward and figures it out. And my drum beats to the same beat. I don't follow the pack with the way that I run my business. I do things differently than my peers. I want to stand out. There's a lot of competition in what I do, and you have to be able to stand out. He's given me license to be creative and to do things differently. And that's what I've taken from watching his career.
So that's a glimpse into why this group of musicians that we all love and all bond over are more than just a band. It's why Foo Fighters fans across the globe go to such great lengths to follow them, and we're going to be hearing much more in the coming weeks and months about the impact this band has made on the lives of people all over the world. So please do support us by hitting that subscribe or follow button on your favourite podcast app, because we've got lots more really cool Foos content coming up. And as Dave says, if you come back, we'll come back. This has been the Foos Files podcast, episode 1. Thank you for listening.